Welcome to the Brandtelling Podcast, where we go beyond basic branding with powerful stories as told by brand builders, owners, and founders. Now, here are your hosts, Chief Brand Teller Arthur Germain and the Brand Chef Asaf Bachman.
If you live with your partner, there's more than a 50-50 chance you've worked on some type of construction or decoration project together. There's also more than a 50-50 chance that you and your partner argue during the project.
Oh, that brings back some memories, Arthur.
Yeah, for me too. Years ago, my wife Patty and I decided to wallpaper our kitchen together. Let's just say there was a lot of disagreement.
That's why she doesn't let you build her cookies. Shout out to Patty's Crafty Confections.
But what if your brand depended on strong collaboration with your partner to achieve your client's vision? How do you put aside all the internal domestic issues to build an externally facing brand? That's what we're going to talk about on today's episode of the Brandtelling Podcast. I'm your host, Arthur Germain, and with me is my co-host, Asaf, the Brand Chef Bachman.
Thank you, Arthur. Okay, let's get cooking. Our guests today are David and Samantha Colon, co-founders of Husky Design and Build, where they simplify the complex process of home renovation or commercial build-outs by offering both design and construction services under one roof. Samantha and David, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Excited to be here.
As co-founders, if we can ask you to tell us a little bit about what the brand means for both of you. And David, why don't we start with you?
So the brand, to say the least, definitely, our motto is we're all in on quality. I think that truly shows what we're all about. We're not about cutting corners. We're about doing construction the right way. And our brand is Husky Design and Build, and it starts with design. People just don't realize that when you're designing first, it's going to lead to a better process throughout the construction phase. And that's exactly what we're bringing to the table here.
I love to hear you talk about process, and maybe, Samantha, we can ask you how do you focus on a process and make sure that cuts through an entire build or entire job that you're working on?
Each project is unique in its own. Everything is custom. Everything is tailored per project. So it all really depends on the scope itself. Taking on a project, you go through all the different phases of interior design. So you start with the programming, the discovery phase, understanding the client's needs, how to utilize the space. And then you move on to each individual phase, going into schematic. Now you're starting to get the concept of everything, the overall look, how you're using it. Then you move into design development and you further dive into that design.
Yeah.
What are the technical aspects of it? And then you go into the construction documents and everything is detailed out. Schedules, drawings, dimensions. Once that is completed, that's when I hand it over to the build team. But that's not the first time that they see that. It's through every step of every phase. And that's what makes us unique in our brand.
Yeah. And I like the way that you talk about it. It's familiar to Asaf and I, because this is what we do when we're working on a brand project is, I often look at what's it sound like? What are the words being used? How are we describing ourselves? How are we different? How are we unique? How are we a different category? I like using the phrase a category of one. And Asaf says, what does that feel like? What does that look like? What does a brand that's going to achieve that actually look like? People think you can just throw a logo and some colors, and Asaf's like, yeah, that works for about 3 seconds, and then you've got to go back. David, I want to bring it back to you. So Samantha said that you are always involved in a touch point in there for the build side of house. Tell me a little bit about side.
So in the design phase, this is what we call the pre-construction phase. And in this time period, this phase, we're nailing down a lot of the details. But what I'm able to do is get all the costs up front. And that's tremendous for a lot, because a lot of times when you're in front of a contractor, let's just say, they're selling you a price. They're nothing's thought through at that point.
Right.
It's you have a bathroom and it's okay. They come in there and they'll say, this is going to cost $20,000, where we're showing you what's going in there first, and we show you what that price is right up front, where it's contractors are kind of doing it the reverse way.
Right.
when they sell you that price, they go home and they're like, what am I putting in there for that price? They don't know that at that moment. When we present to you, we show you everything up front, every detail, down to what toilet we're using, the vanity, everything's shown up front. And then we say that costs X amount. It's a bit different. And I've noticed people aren't used to this in the residential world here on Long Island. But essentially, this is exactly what we both done in the past in the commercial world.
Yeah.
I took what we both did in commercial and now I'm bringing it into residential. And we're noticing our clients are like, you guys are a different breed of people.
Right.
But just by having contractors there every single day, I don't know why people aren't used to this, but this is what I do in the commercial world.
Yeah, and that's kind of often what sets somebody apart is the fact that you have a different process even and a different way of thinking about it. Asaf, you were going to say.
And being that part of your brand story, right? I know that you're very active on social, especially Instagram. You guys have a great page that you're running. And I want to know, as far as telling that brand story to your audience, what do you find is the hardest part?
It's definitely hard to get out this, I would say, education behind construction and design. Nobody truly knows what interior design is. People think what an interior designer is what a decorator is. Decorating is a small portion within interior design. Interior design is much bigger than just picking out finishes.
It goes behind the walls. So interior decorating is more of what you see. Furnishings, finishes, window treatments, paint. Interior designers go behind that wall. How is that wall constructed? What is electrical running behind it? Whenever I go into a space and I design that, I think about how you truly utilize it and can it be rearranged in a different way that makes your life more efficient or it supports your lifestyle?
So is that what people mean when they you hear the phrase somebody says, "Oh, this house is good bones"? Is that is that a house that you can work with?
I think that means it's really good for Halloween.
When it has good bones, it has good character to it. But the surface above it, everything is so different. It's like, yes, it has a unique style to it and a unique flow. And then you just add on to that. Mm-hmm. And there's just so much more to design than what meets the eye.
Yeah.
And that's what we're truly trying to get out to everybody is that it's not just furniture. It's not just paint colors. It's more.
Yeah.
It's supporting your lifestyle and truly making your environment a better place to be in. Think about when you go into an office and it's just white walls and a carpet. Feel how stark that is. But the moment you start layering in different aspects of design, the lighting, not just fluorescent lights or LED lights. Where's your task lights? Where's your accent lights? It truly makes a difference.
Right.
So what do you find are the biggest challenges facing your clients when they approach you?
So one of the biggest challenges is always budget, I would say. Everybody's got a number that they're trying to stick to.
$3.99 is the best number.
Everybody loves free, right? But beyond that, I feel like, especially here on Long Island, what I'm seeing is people are scared to share their budget up front with the contractor. I'm a construction manager, which is different than a contractor. I'm always getting a budget up front where I'm speaking to general contractors and other contractors, and they say they have the most difficult time getting a budget up front. And it's because I don't know why there's something out there here on Long Island that we need to hide this information, because I actually do know why. Because contractors develop such a bad name here on Long Island. They're not reliable. They don't show up every day. They're not doing quality work. It's taking them 18 months to do a 2-month project.
I don't think it's just limited to Long Island, unfortunately. I think
I agree with that.
If Asaf had asked you, what do you hate about your industry? And we asked that question nationwide, I bet other industry professionals would say the same thing.
Yes, I would guess
it's the bad actors that go out there.
But I would say more so like in the residential versus where we come from, the commercial world. I see such a difference between what we've done in commercial and what I'm seeing. I get a lot of resistance from clients because they're so used to contractors, and I'm definitely changing the game.
The anti-contractor.
I'm not a contractor. I oversee the contractors. I'm the one who's scheduling them, making sure that they're there on time every day. And one thing on our first project this year that we recognized was our clients were amazed that we had our contractors there every single day. And I'm like, this is what I have to do to make you guys happy. I'm like, this is simple.
Right.
Like, just have contractors here every day. They're not used to that, apparently.
Are these your own contractors or subcontracting? How do you do
I
it?
have all my subcontractors that I utilize: electricians, plumbers, carpenters, roofers, everything. And I have multiple of them. And I'm the one I consider myself a client's rep construction manager. That's I would say I'm a true client's rep CM. I'm
Almost
there
like a broker for construction. You're
Some
kind of like finding the best GCs and subcontractors.
But the client's rep, I think, is a different kind of thing because you act as an agent on behalf of, and almost a fiduciary on behalf of the client, because you guys both agree to that budget and it's there, and you're going to make sure that they maintain that budget.
100%.
You know,
We stick to that.
that becomes the job, and I think that's that resistance point. So maybe what you need to do, work with your marketing team to give yourself a branded name for your guarantee, because that budget, the way that you go in, give it a plan name for your process and a plan name for the Husky guarantee budget, because
the Husky Promise.
The Husky Promise, exactly, right? I think that it gives you a differentiator. What I like about the model that you're describing is, in lots of places, and we work against this sometimes on our side of the world, lots of places will say that they're kind of full service or what have you. A lot of places say that you'll get the best that they have. And that's what you'll get, the best that they have, but it may not be the best. You're able to, pull in the specialist. If somebody needs a special tile project, it's going to require a special person.
And we're going to learn a lot more about that in just a moment.
Hey there, if you're like most business owners or founders, you may find that after time, your brand has undergone some type of change. Maybe you've launched a new product, a new service, or a new location, or perhaps you've acquired some new talent or capability.
And now your team is struggling to communicate what makes your brand different and what sets you apart as the right choice.
And that's why Asaf and I have launched the Brand Building Bootcamp. It's a focused workshop where we reimagine, refresh, rebuild, and relaunch your entire brand.
We're essentially helping you become a category of one.
The Brand Building Bootcamp gives you a refreshed brand storybook, visual identity, magnetic website, and the tools for connecting your content with your audiences to increase your bottom line.
Arthur, don't forget, we're delivering all this in 30 days or less.
Yeah, no pressure.
Well, we're limiting the bootcamp to only a few clients each month. So if you're interested, let us know.
Yeah, if this sounds interesting, you can learn more at thebrandbuildingbootcamp.com and schedule a no-obligation brand chat with me and Asaf.
And now, let's get back to our podcast. We're back with David and Samantha Colon of Husky Design and Build. And David, I wanted to bring the conversation to a huge change that your company and brand went through this year recently. Can you tell us more about it?
So I was able to bring my wife out of her 9-to-5 this year and build my company, which is a design and build company. I was essentially running it alone. Now I have a design and build company with my designer.
That's awesome.
And you changed over the brand name as well.
Now it's Husky Design and Build. We drop construction.
That's excellent. I think that's a smart move.
And props to the design team that you worked with. I think, we'll have people go over to the website and take a look. I think they did an awesome job.
Very.
And your social media looks fantastic.
Yes, absolutely.
So shout out D-Nick.
Yeah, shout out to D-Nick. D-Nick Media does a fantastic job. And I think they're really doing a great job to showcase your brand. And I think that's important when you go through a change like that, is to work with someone who understands and goes through. When we took a break before, I was complimenting Samantha on the passion that she was showing, talking about the design process. And you want somebody who understands that passion and goes, I can take that and show it visually. Asaf and I often challenge one another when we're saying, but what is the part of this that really excites you? Because that's the part that's going to excite your customers. And now I've said all that to say, because you work with a lot of subcontractors, how do you manage to maintain that kind of brand excitement and your brand as the subcontractors are showing up to work on your job? How do you get them to kind of convey that excitement about the brand and about what you guys are all about?
So that was definitely a challenging part of this all. Essentially, we had to figure out a way to get them to buy into what our vision is.
Mm-hmm.
That's not easy. Contractors, they want to be in and out. They
Right.
want their money as quickly as possible. It's not easy to slow them down. You have to get them to buy in to this all. And
Did you two kind of sit together and try to kind of be on the same page about it, maybe before talking with maybe a new contractor that you're dealing with or taking on?
I'm really the construction end of everything. I have a lot of my relationships. If people want to introduce me to a new contractor, I'm always open to that. There's never enough contractors for me because I'm a construction manager. I think people don't realize I manage construction. That's all I do.
Right.
I'm not the one physically doing it. And I'll tell you, that's what you want. You want somebody managing, staying on top of the entire project. You don't want your painter to be the one that's doing the physical painting, because guess what? When he's done, he's going to tell you, I'm done. But then you look at it and you're going to say, it doesn't look like you're done. Looks like you could use some touch-ups here and there. A lot of times clients are scared to open their mouths when it comes to contractors.
Right. Almost like at a restaurant, right? You don't want to complain about food because the fear that it's going to come back 10 times worse is real.
100%, same kind of concept. And it's funny
Spite.
that you bring up restaurant world. And in fact, when a chef is cooking, a lot of times they're following a recipe. They're not just winging it, right? There's specific steps. There's certain ingredients that they're putting in. That essentially is the same thing with design, as well as conductor, composer. He's the one, he's not playing one single instrument, but he's controlling every instrument without touching an instrument.
Absolutely.
That's essentially what I am on a construction project.
Right.
Yeah.
To make magic happen, there's got to be one person there that's coordinating everything. That's how you get the quality that you're looking for. And it's keeping everything on track as well. Scheduling, because that composer is doing their hand movement.
Right.
And as they're doing that, each movement means something for a different instrument. Same thing on my end.
What is it that sets you apart from GCs and that you need to keep an eye on, when you're managing a construction project?
I would say the fact that we're reliable every single day, day in and day out. We're calling our clients or texting our clients if we're running 5 minutes late. Our clients are telling us no contractor is doing that.
It sounds like you're more than reliable, you're accountable, and you kind of live up to that accountability.
A construction manager is the person holding accountability on this entire job site. And that's where I want to get that education out there. Especially in this residential world, they're not utilizing construction managers. Then they wonder why there's no accountability.
Yeah. That leads to my next question, which is, what is the brand story that you really want to leave with your clients? What I often say is you want to build a brand that's memorable, repeatable, and rewarding. And by that, I mean, there's something that they're left with. That's the memorable part. There's some way that they can easily tell it, which is the repeatable part. But the rewarding part is interesting, that there's a reward in them actually saying, you want to do some construction project? You're insane if you haven't talked to David. That rewarding where somebody goes, oh, I don't want to be insane. And when that person goes, talks and says, oh my God, I had a great experience, that reward. So, what is it that, that in your brand story that you want to leave your customers with?
I want them to know, like, when we're on their project, I'm shooting for construction excellence. There's not a single part of me that's going to cut a corner. It's not cut corners, it's cut costs. That's two separate things. There's ways of cutting costs without cutting corners. People don't realize this, then that's huge, and that's my background. In fact, I have 5 certificates from Columbia University. One of them is cost estimating and cost control.
Yeah.
That's huge. I actually save my clients a lot of money.
What do you think has been the hardest part about telling this part of the brand story for you?
Nobody knows what construction management is, and nobody knows what a licensed interior designer is. That's all I'm trying to get out there.
Right.
Where when you design first, just like when you're cooking with a recipe, things go right.
Yeah.
Same thing when you're designing first, things go right. And that's why I'm not 18 months behind on any of my projects. I'm not 3 months behind on any of my project. If I'm 2 weeks behind on a project, that's rare. 'cause I keep a strict schedule. I have a lot of software that keeps track of all of this. Contractors don't utilize this stuff. Right. When you have that design, it's very simple. Essentially, she gives me a roadmap. I just follow the map.
And just to piggyback off of that too, it's very important to have design first because you make all your mistakes on paper. Why start a construction project and you're like, oh, maybe I should do it this way. But now you're pausing everything. You're delaying everything. When you design first, you could design once, twice, 3 times. You could have multiple revisions. I always say design twice, build once.
Yeah.
But it's more than just designing first. It's bringing the design and build aspect in early on because as she's designing, I'm able to tell her what this is going to cost. And that's a tremendous value that people don't realize.
That's an important dynamic
happening
between the designer and the not really the builder, but at least someone that is going to take ownership of the building and having that immediate feedback. I mean, I'm sure it makes the design process maybe a little longer, but I'm sure it makes the construction side way shorter.
Believe it or not, design side is actually faster when we're together. When we have design and build separate, because I've done this in the past as well without her, it becomes the designer designs it out first, and now it comes to me, and now I'm telling the client, hey, this is way over your budget, because the designer is just putting out there where I could say, hey, Sam, let's relax a little. We're going really out of control here. This is going to be $100,000 over their budget.
Wow.
I could immediately see that on paper and say, let's put a stop to that right here, right now.
And that's why it's important to have design and build
at the same time. Super important.
And same thing with the budget. If a client comes to us and says, I only have $160,000 to do a kitchen and a living room, or just a kitchen, it's like, okay, I now know how large this kitchen is. I know how much cabinets cost and a countertop, but what's the construction end? So having David there with me while designing, it's like, no, it's going to cost X, Y, and Z for construction. So I now know I can't do the most expensive quartz tops that is so beautiful, but I find something just as pretty and beautiful and durable that fits within the budget.
It's interesting. So last week we spoke with Justin Baliunas about what he does when he is working with clients to set up a tent and an outdoor event. And what he mentioned was trying to hit the client's vision at the client's budget price point. And so, he tries to do the same thing, kind of bring to them what you were just talking about, bring their vision to life at a budget that they can afford and agree to and not pass out over. I just want to put a little pin in here that you said, hey, that you only have $160,000 to do your kitchen. So these can be really large projects that you're talking about. So there's a lot that needs to go into there as you're working on it.
So just like Justin and Magnifitent, he's a quality company just like we are. We're not going to cheap out on certain things.
Right.
We're looking for quality.
Right.
And it's more for the experience that you're getting with us.
It's the brand.
Just like with Justin, his experience is different than somebody else, I'm sure, that's doing a cheaper tent, which I'm sure everybody knows there are cheaper tents out there.
You won't see a ripped tent on his site.
Exactly. He brings quality to the table.
But he also brings more than quality, and same thing with us. It's more of that customer experience. It's what we bring to the table as two experts. And it's how we present ourselves. It's how we show up every day. It's our passion. It's our drive. And that's also what makes us unique as well. And we call it the Husky experience because we truly bring a different experience to the design build world.
So speaking of experience, it's time for my favorite part, which is, what is the spiciest client project story you guys have?
I feel like a lot of our projects are so straightforward because we design it out. We don't run into problems that others run into because it's well thought out. We have such an educated process that potential clients always tell me their horror stories. And I hear the craziest things. Every single one of those problems are not on our job sites because it's well thought out. It's well executed. I'm doing construction the educated way, and people see the results very quickly.
That sounds really great. And David and Samantha, we really appreciate having you on our show. And why don't you guys tell the audience where they can find more information about the company?
Yeah, you could definitely check out our website, huskyconstructionllc.com. And we do have 2 Instagram handles for 2 unique personalities. The main one is Husky Construction LLC and then Husky Designs LLC.
That's great. David and Samantha, thank you very much for joining us on the Brandtelling Podcast. I'm Arthur Germain.
And I'm Asaf, the brand chef Bachman. And that's our show for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the Brandtelling Podcast. If you have a story idea or would like to be a guest on the podcast, please send us an email at podcast@brandtelling.com.